Right, Alice Springs just hit 47 degrees while Melbourne S sitting at 14. That is a 33-degree difference across one country. And if you reckon that S wild, wait till you hear what S heading your way over the next 72 hours. Is your area about to cop the tail end of this tropical moisture that has already dumped over 200 millimetres across far north Queensland? Because right now, the Bureau of Meteorology has severe weather warnings active for 3 states, affecting more than 8 million Australians, and the models are showing 2 very different scenarios for how this plays out. Here is what I'm going to cover. In the next 60 seconds, I'll give you specific timing for Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Hobart and Darwin. Then we'll break down this developing low-pressure system that S got access and the European model disagreeing by nearly 200 kilometres. But first, chuck your location in the comments right now because tomorrow S forecast is going to be hyper-specific to your region and I want to make sure I cover where you are. All right, here is your quick rundown. Sydney, currently 29 degrees. Tomorrow climbing to 32 before a southerly change hits around 6 p.m, dropping you back to 24 by midnight. Melbourne, you're looking at that change arriving earlier, around 3 in the arvo, bringing your 31 down to 18 pretty quickly. Brisbane stable at 31 today, 32 tomorrow, but watch Friday when that moisture arrives. Perth, you're in the clear for now, 34 today, 35 tomorrow, sea breeze kicking in around 1 p.m. as usual. Adelaide, 28 today. That cold front I just mentioned hits you Thursday night, bringing 20 to 30 mils of rain. Hobart, you'll feel it first. Change arrives Wednesday evening, temps dropping from 23 to 15 overnight. Darwin, you are in monsoon mode, 32 degrees with afternoon storms, 60% chance. And Canberra, you're at 27 today, but dropping to 19 by Friday. Now, let's talk about what S really going on here, because there's one detail that S got me watching the models every 6 hours. We've got this monsoon trough sitting across the top end, which is completely normal for late January, but it's interacting with a surface trough extending down through inland Queensland and into northern New South Wales. That S funneling tropical moisture south, and here is where it gets interesting. Access is showing this low pressure system developing off the New South Wales coast around Friday morning, positioned roughly 200 kS east of Sydney. The European model, though, reckons it forms further north, closer to the Queensland border, and develops 12 hours earlier. This 100k difference changes everything for the Central Coast, Newcastle and the Hunter Valley. If access is right, you are looking at 20 to 40 mils. If the European model nails it, could be 60 to 80 mils with localised flooding possible. We'll have a better idea tomorrow morning once the overnight model runs come through, so definitely check back because this is evolving fast. Let me give you the broader picture across the country. Starting up in the top end, Darwin and Katherine, you are in classic wet season pattern. Storms building from around 2 p.m. each afternoon, heavy falls possible but nothing organised yet. The monsoon trough is active but not particularly intense. Feels like temperatures though, you are pushing 40 degrees with that humidity. Stay hydrated, seriously. Across into the Kimberley Broome, you are at 34 degrees, partly cloudy, isolated storms inland but coastal areas staying mostly dry. Kalgoorlie, you are cooking at 38 degrees, bone dry, and that S continuing through the weekend. Down in Perth and the southwest, Fremantle Dr. S been doing its job nicely. Coastal suburbs getting that relief around lunchtime, but inland areas like Northam and York, you are staying hot, 36, 37 degrees. Bunbury and the southwest, similar story. Sea breeze, your best mate right now. Hang on, let me clarify something about South Australia because there's a bit of confusion in the models. Adelaide and the coastal fringe, that front I mentioned arrives Thursday night, but Mount Gambier in the southeast, you are getting it earlier Wednesday evening. Could see some decent falls too, 30 to 50 mils possible. Whyalla and Port Augusta, you'll stay mostly dry, just some cloud increase and a temperature drop. Right, moving into Victoria, Melbourne, Geelong, Ballarat, you're all on the same timeline with this change. Wednesday arvo, temperatures drop sharply, southwesterly winds picking up to 40 k's an hour, gusting 50. Bit of rain with it, but nothing major, 5 to 15 mils. The Gippsland coast, though, that S, where the models are showing heavier falls. Sale, Bairnsdale, Lakes Entrance, 20 to 40 mils possible Thursday into Friday as that low develops offshore. Shepparton and the northern areas, you will stay warmer longer. 32 Wednesday, then dropping Thursday. Now, here is the thing about New South Wales, and this is why I need you lot to drop your location in the comments. The forecast splits dramatically depending on where you are. Western New South Wales, Dubbo, Wagga Wagga, you're staying hot and dry. 38, 39 degrees through midweek, then a gradual cool down but staying mostly dry. But the coastal strip and ranges, completely different story. Sydney and the surrounding areas, Wollongong, the Illawarra, you're rewatching Friday very carefully. That low I mentioned earlier determines everything. Currently thinking 20 to 40 mils, but if the European Model S track verifies, the Southern Highlands and Illawarra escarpment could see isolated falls over 100 mils. Coffs Harbour and the mid-north coast, you're on the northern edge of this system, so more likely to see the rain Thursday night into Friday. Newcastle and the Hunter, same deal. Timing is everything here. Models should converge by tomorrow. Actually, I should be more specific about the timing because I reckon some of you are planning weekend activities. If you are in coastal New South Wales, Friday S looking like the wettest day with conditions improving Saturday morning. Not ideal for the beach, but by Saturday Arvo, we should see some clearing. Sunday S looking better across the board. Queensland, let us break you down properly. Far north, Queensland, Cairns, Townsville, you've already seen the heavy stuff. Cairns copped 160 mils in 24 hours, Townsville about 80. That system S moved offshore now, so you are drying out. Still humid though, 31, 32 degrees, feels like 40 with the moisture in the air. Townsville and the northern coast, scattered showers continuing but nothing organised. Mackay, you are in between systems, partly cloudy, 30 degrees, bit of a breather really. Southeast Queensland, this is where it gets interesting for you. Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, you are dry until Friday. Then that moisture I keep talking about starts moving in. Models are still working out exactly how much, but currently looking at 10 to 30 mils Friday into Saturday. Toowoomba and the Darling Downs, you'll see it a bit earlier Thursday night. There's one thing about this setup that has got me concerned, and I'll get to that in about 3 minutes. But first, if you haven't already, seriously chuck your city or town in the comments. Tomorrow's update is going to be way more detailed for specific regions, and I want to make sure I am covering your area properly. I read every comment. Let's talk about Tasmania because you lot are getting the first hit from this cold front. Hobart currently 23 degrees, tomorrow 20, then dropping to 15 Thursday as that change moves through. Launceston, similar pattern but arriving a few hours later. Devonport and the North Coast, Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. The West Coast, Queenstown, Strahan, you will see the heaviest rain, 30 to 60 mils possible as that front pushes through. The East Coast stays a bit drier, but everyone's getting that temperature drop. Now, Canberra and the ACT, you are in an interesting position. Currently 27 degrees, dropping to 19 by Friday, but the rain forecast is uncertain. You are right on the boundary between the dry inland air and the coastal moisture. Could go either way at this stage. Some models showing 10 to 20 mils, others showing barely anything. We'll know more tomorrow, right? Here is that concerning detail I mentioned. The compounding factor here is soil moisture. After that dry spell we had through early January, particularly in southern Queensland and northern New South Wales, creek beds and river systems are low, but they were also hard-baked. When this rain hits, if it comes heavy, you are looking at rapid runoff rather than absorption. That ESSA flash flooding risk, particularly in the ranges and escarpment areas. The northern rivers, Lismore, Casino, Ballina. Keep an eye on flood watches because if those isolated heavy falls set up over the catchments, things can change quickly. The Bureau will update their warnings daily, so stay across those. Let me check that again actually because the latest access run is showing slightly different positioning. Yeah, okay, so the low S tracking has shifted about 50 kS south in the last 12 hours. That is actually better news for southeast Queensland, potentially wetter for northern New South Wales. This is exactly why you need to check back tomorrow because these systems are dynamic. Compare that to the GFS model out of America, which has been consistently further south than Access. If GFS verifies, we're re-looking at heavier impacts for Sydney and the Central Coast, the European Model S sitting in the middle. Frustrating, I know, but that S forecasting 3 days out with developing systems. Back to the heat for a moment because Western Australia and inland areas, this is serious. Kalgoorlie at 38 degrees, but places like Leonora, Laverton, you are pushing 42, 43. That is extreme heat territory. If you are working outdoors, early starts, plenty of water, you know the drill. The fire danger across southern inland areas is considerable to high. No total fire bans currently, but that could change. South Australia, S Flinders Ranges, northern Victoria, western New South Wales, all watching fire weather carefully. That southwesterly change will help, but until it arrives, stay alert. Northern Territory inland, Alice Springs at 47 degrees, Tennant Creek 44, the dry S in full swing for you lot. That heat's relentless and there's no relief coming this week, at least coastal top end S getting afternoon storms. Let me give you some regional centres I haven't covered yet. Bendigo, you are at 31 Wednesday, dropping to 22 Thursday with that change. Albury-Wodonga on the border, 33 Wednesday, 25 Thursday, 5 to 10 mils possible. Orange in the central west. Eureka at altitude, 26 Wednesday, 21 Thursday. Bathurst, similar numbers. Wagga Wagga, 37 Wednesday, then dropping but staying dry. Port Macquarie and the mid-north coast, 29 degrees. That rain arrives Thursday night, 20 to 40 mils likely. Tamworth, 34 degrees, staying mostly dry through the week. Rockhampton and central Queensland, 32 degrees, humid, isolated afternoon storms possible, but nothing significant. Gladstone, similar pattern. Look, if there's one thing to remember from this forecast, that Friday is your key day for Eastern Australia. That when this low pressure system makes its move and the exact position determines who gets what. Western Australia and Northern Territory, you are on your own timeline, not connected to this eastern system. The models should sort themselves out by tomorrow morning runs. We'll have much better clarity on that low S track, which means better rainfall totals for specific areas. So yeah, definitely check back tomorrow because I'll have that detail for you. At around the 12-minute mark here, just want to remind you again about those comments. If you want tomorrow's forecast specific to your town, drop it below. I am particularly keen to hear from anyone in the Northern Rivers, Mid-North Coast or Hunter Valley because you were right in that uncertain zone. Weekend outlook broadly, Saturday, that low should be moving offshore, so eastern areas drying out. Still a bit cloudy, but improvement. Sunday looking better across most of the eastern seaboard. Western Australia just continued dry and warm. Top end, your typical wet season pattern continues. Early next week, we might see another system developing, but that still 7 days out, so I am not putting too much weight on it yet. The long-range models have been a bit all over the place lately. Temperatures for next week looking more seasonal across the south. Melbourne back to mid-20s, Sydney high 20s, Brisbane low 30s. That more typical for late January, early February. The one wild card is if we get any tropical activity developing. The monsoon trough is active, and there's some vague signals in the extended models about possible development in the Coral Sea, but nothing concrete. If anything forms, we'll track it closely. Cyclone season in full swing, and the northern coastline needs to stay aware. Quick recap then, cold front moving through southern Australia Wednesday into Thursday, bringing temperature drops and some rain, heaviest in Tasmania and Western Victoria. Meanwhile, tropical moisture streaming south into Queensland and New South Wales with a coastal low developing Friday. Exact position uncertain, creates big differences in who gets heavy rain. Models disagreeing by 1 to 200 kilometres should converge tomorrow. Western Australia and inland areas staying hot and dry. Northern Territory in typical wet season mode. Now look, I want to be straight with you. Forecasting 3 days out with developing lows, there's always uncertainty. I am giving you what the models are showing right now, but these systems can shift. That not me hedging, that just reality. The skill in knowing when we can be confident and when we need to wait for better data. Tomorrow update will have much better detail because we'll have the overnight model runs, the latest bureau analysis, and that low track should be clearer. I am particularly watching for any changes in the rainfall forecasts for northern New South Wales and southeast Queensland. Here is your specific tease for tomorrow. I'll have detailed rainfall totals for every major centre on the east coast, updated fire danger ratings for inland areas, and we'll look at whether that early next week system I mentioned is actually something to watch or just model noise. Plus your requested locations from the comments. Next video drops tomorrow morning, same time, around 8 a.m. Set a reminder if you want because this is moving fast. Really appreciate you watching. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments. If I missed your area, tell me and I'll cover it tomorrow. Stay safe, stay informed, and if you are in those fire danger areas or expecting heavy rain, just keep monitoring the Bureau warnings. Check back tomorrow.